he could just tell that I was like stressed and anxious about stuff, and like as soon as he put his head in my lap, I was like, this is my dog. My name's Andie Velders. This is my service dog Milo, and I'm here to talk about why I have a service dog and the importance of service dog awareness. So I was diagnosed with epilepsy when I was 12, and they told me I was going to grow out of it and everything would be fine just with medication and everything, and that did happen, but I eventually was re-diagnosed back in 2019, and they told me that I would not grow out of it and it would make a lot of normal everyday activities that people just do from a day-to-day basis would not be possible for me with epilepsy unless I found some sort of medical aid such as a service dog. So early 2020 I started a GoFundMe, and a police dog trainer reached out to me saying that he had a dog that was really well trained in obedience but wasn't aggressive enough to be a police dog. So he had me come over and we instantly bonded. Milo came and like laid his head in my lap, and he could just tell that I was like stressed and anxious about stuff, and like as soon as he put his head in my lap, I was like, this is my dog. So we began training just on like basic service dog aspects of the whole thing, and then eventually got into more seizure alert and response. So my biggest trigger is stress, and like high levels of stress can cause me to have seizures. So when he picks up on that, he forces me to put all my attention on him. So I'll sit there and play with him or pet him until he recognizes that I'm calmed down enough to where I'm not at risk of having a seizure. And then when I do have seizures, or he senses the seizures coming on, he alerts by being very obnoxiously whiny until I'm forced to put my attention on him again. And when I am having a seizure, he comes and like lays at my feet. He makes me sit down first, but then he lays at my feet and stays there. And then as soon as I come out of the seizure, he takes me to make sure I get water and make sure I don't fall asleep, because it's extremely dangerous for people with epilepsy to fall asleep after having a seizure. So if I were to have just been by myself, had a seizure, fallen asleep, many different things could go wrong with that. So part of his job is to ensure that I don't fall asleep, which has been really helpful. Plus he's like my best friend on campus and always makes me feel so much better about myself. But he is a big issue being on a college campus, because a lot of people think that I'm either faking it or I'm just his trainer, or some people think that I'm blind or deaf. That's their first instinct when they see me with him, and I'm like, not blind or deaf, like I'm clearly walking, I can clearly hear you talking about me. I've had people bark at him, throw stuff at him, throw food at him. So it's been, especially last year, it was really difficult just going to class, because I don't remember a single time going to class where I wasn't harassed for having him. So for the longest time I didn't understand why people couldn't just like leave us be, but a lot of it has to do with ignorance. You know, if you're not educated on something, how are you going to know better? So that's why this year, being in Kappa Delta, I've recognized the importance of education in order to prevent ignorance, and that's given me the confidence to kind of speak out on why I have him and like the necessary etiquette for when you're around someone with a service dog. And that's surprisingly gotten a lot of positive feedback. A lot of people didn't realize that it's, you know, not very cool when you go up to someone, you acknowledge the dog before the person. It kind of like belittles the person. And so I had many people like, I didn't even realize that's what I was doing, or I didn't realize that petting him or talking to him could be so distracting. And it was just like little things like that that was finally clicking, and it made me realize that that's all it takes for people to accept and acknowledge and learn. Of course it's not going to work for everyone, there's still going to be those jerks, but I've definitely had a much better experience this year with people being more conscious of him being around. Definitely know that they are always working, even if it doesn't seem like it. Like, he has bad days too, but it's really important to allow them to work, to, you know, kind of treat them as if you would treat a wheelchair. If someone in a wheelchair came into a room, you wouldn't stare at it, you wouldn't talk at it, you wouldn't ask its name, you would just let the person go by. And even though he is a living thing, he's still a medical aid, so he should be treated the same.